Hi, welcome to a video on how to graph a scatter plot on the TI-nspire. This is the first of a series of videos about scatter plots. We're focusing first on graphing them and entering data. For our example, today we're going to be using example 3 from Unit 4, Section 6 of Big Ideas Algebra 1, in which we're examining Old Faithful's geyser. We've got a set of data here where the x values show us the duration of the eruption, how long it's lasting, and the y value shows us how much time it is until the next eruption. So to start with, we want to enter the data into our calculator, and then we're going to go ahead and graph it on the calculator. We'll get into the rest of the problem, that is making the line of best fit and correlation coefficient, the rest of this problem, in scatter plots to the second video. All right, so let's get started. We're going to go to our calculator and we want to enter data. So from our home screen, there's two ways to do that. We can either do a new document and add lists and spreadsheets, or from our home screen, we could also have chosen the little spreadsheet icon right here. So either way, though, we'll end up with this page where we can enter our data. The first thing to do is to title each column. We're going to put that information by the A and the B. The second row here will remain blank. There's other purposes for that we don't need for scatter plots. Now we know our x values were titled duration, and our y values were titled time. We saw that information on our table of values. Below the x value information starting at 1, we're going to type in our data, 2.0, 3.7, 4.2, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and pause while we do that. All right, I'm back, and you can see I've entered all of my data here. I've got 8 lines worth of data, and you might notice your calculator may look different than mine in that I've got all these decimal places showing up. I've got actually 4 decimal places showing up in my x values column. What's going on here is an important thing to note, in that with scatter plots we're going to end up with a lot of decimals because the data is not exact. It's not going to be all integers. And when that happens, we need to consider rounding. Now for most problems, rounding to the 10th place might be just fine, but you're really going to have to read the problem that you're given and see what instructions they indicate. If not, you want to go with what the rounding is using in the problem. So in our problem, they're going to the 10th place. But because you never quite know, you want to be able to change a setting in your calculator so that you can see all the decimal places. Otherwise, it may automatically round, and you might see a 4 here when you entered a 3.7. To make sure that you actually have decimal places entered, I'm going to show you how to do that. From your home screen, you want to go to Settings. From your home screen, go to Settings. Under Settings, you want to go to Document Settings. Under Document Settings, the digits are really significant. What digits are going to be displayed? I have it under Fix 4. You can change that by going up and down till you find Fix 4. Fix 4 means that if there's a decimal, there will be 4 places, even if they have to fill in with zeros. And you click Make Default. We want that as that setting. Again, that will help you throughout your scatter plots problem. So if you have not done that yet, pause the video, go ahead and change that. Again, it's under Settings, Document Settings, Display Digits, and you click Make Default. So it changes it to all of your current work as well. Now that we've changed that setting, so we're all in the same place with our decimals, we're going to go back to our document. By the way, a great way to get there is through the Current option. So I've got my data all entered. Having entered my data, I now want to graph it. So that's my next step. Now to graph my data, I need to insert a graph. So that's going to be the change to my document. So I'm going to go to my document, I'm going to go to Insert, and I want a graph. I believe I did a calculator by mistake. Let me do that again. Document, Insert, Graph. There we go. Okay, so now I have a graph inserted, and just a blank graph, and I want to graph my scatter plot. So there's a great option for scatter plot under Menu. So let's go to Menu, Graph Entry, and Scatter Plot. So really easy to remember, all of your menu is titled. So I want my scatter plot. When the scatter plot comes up, you have to identify where your x and y values are. Now this is a good time to remember what we titled them with before. Going back to our data, the x values are duration, y values time. If we're unsure which one's x and y, let's go back to our problem, and we can see, oh yeah, duration is my x, time is my y, just in case we were not sure. We could also read in the problem, duration is x, time is y. So we know that clearly, we know which ones are x, which ones are y. So we're going to type out the word duration. You can use your keyboard area below to type out the word duration. You know you've got the word right because it's going to change from italics, like so, to bold when I add the letter N. That means the calculator has recognized that goes to another set of data over here. For y value, oh, I guess I lost it. Duration, and my y value time. Again, it turned bold once it recognized the word. I hit enter, and my data is plotted somewhere. Notice I don't see it, probably because if you think about my data, I had numbers in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and over here it only goes up to 10 and 6. So my window again has to be changed. There's a very easy window zoom option here that was really great for our data, and that is under Menu, Window, Zoom Data. This is like your best friend for the window options for scatter plots because it's just going to set it perfectly for you. It will include a window that fits all of your data into it perfectly. So hit Enter on Zoom Data, and there are all my points all graphed nicely. And that is how we create a graph of a scatter plot. Now what's great, now I can look at this data and say what kind of correlation it has. Seeing that it is increasing as I go from left to right, my x values increase, while my y values increase, I know it is a positive correlation. I can also then go on and find my line of regression and do other analysis, but that is going to be in our next video, Scatter Plots 2. So to find out what's happening next with the linear regression, go ahead and go to Scatter Plots 2.